Hi, in today's episode we are going to see the podcast players from Android. There are many podcast players which is available in the market, but I have selected few of them here which I have used personally and would like to recommend them if you are looking for a good podcast players on Android. The first one which I use daily is DoggCatcher. This has a good nice looking feeling, as well as it has the integrated audio and video player which takes care of playing and keep tracking of where your podcast is, when you stopped last time. You can see what you are playing, you can see all of your feeds which you have subscribed to. There are videos and news, other stuff. If you go on your feed section, you see this plus icon and you have options to subscribe to multiple things. If you have the feed URL, you can use the feed RSS URL and select the policies for that URL, and you can add the direct feed. If you don't know the feeds, you can search and it will give you results for many different areas. Now let's see the settings, which is customization is one of the main point for this particular player, because it gives you a lot of option of customizations like the feed updates, your global feed options, which is like how many episodes you want to save on your phone, and once you read them, what do you want to do them, like once it's done it can auto delete all those episodes and other stuff. You can limit the feed downloads on Wi-Fi and select how much free space you want. The one good feature which is there now is the cloud sync. It is still in experimental, but works fine. In this, if you select and create a key and connect it out, what happens is, if you are using DoggCatcher on multiple devices, it's going to sync your listening positions here and there, and that will be very useful. You can do your backup, restore and export of your feed and all those other stuff. It has a widget. So this all in all looks like a full-fledged podcast player. The next one is the BeyondPod. This is one of the nice looking podcast player. It gives you an ability to subscribe to different categories, so you can maintain your feeds properly. It's not going to be shown on a separate screen, and you have the episodes and player options. It has an inbuilt player again, so you can see that. You can go on more and see the settings. You have general settings, which is like dark theme and startup screen, how you want to sort your feeds and other stuff. The player settings are another advantage here, which is like a lot of options are available. How much you want to skip, and default audio video player, what's your streaming preferences, how you want to handle your headsets, and all those other stuff are there. Now this is where this player is different from the market. It allows you to configure a smart play. It gives you an ability to select your subscribed feeds and sort them in any order you want, so that it will use that order to play the podcast back to you. So you can actually do a lot of combinations there, which is a very good thing there. So rest all is another, it goes hand to hand in the customization options. It goes hand to hand with DoggCatcher. Both of them gives you a full-fledged capacity of managing your feeds and file handling and other stuff. So let's see the third one, which is a podcast Addict. This is another one with ads. You can donate in the settings to remove the ads if you don't like it. You can go and select the add new feed. You have a search engine, browser and all those stuff. The good thing is you can import your iTunes there here in this, and you have all the kind of filters, what is you are reading and other stuff in there. It's not very advanced, but it's also not very basic. It gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of, if you go and see the settings, you have a lot of settings available here. How much you want to mobile data management, playlist, automatic, all the notification and all the other settings are there with this app. The fourth one is Pocket Casts. This is one of the very good player which gives you a lot of visibility, like in terms of if you see, the UI is more intuitive, a good looking UI. You can select your podcasts, you can go to how much is the unplayed, and it will give you what's downloaded, what's not downloaded, what you have played, what you have not played, and that kind of a thing. There is a short episode and other stuff is there. So your audio, video downloaded, and there is a smart playlist also is there, which you can create and then select accordingly how do you want to use that. If you go to the settings, you have playback, episode updates. So it's all in all a very good podcast player with a good looking UI, good capabilities. You can play your podcast correctly. None of the issues is there. The only one thing is, if you select playback, you can see Bluetooth track info and other stuff is already there. So all in all, it has a good features available. The last one which I have selected is IPP podcast player. This is also having a very good UI, and if you see your subscriptions, and then it can go to category and get you the data whatever you need. It has a lot of categories available inside it, so you can see that out and check it out, all the podcasts which is available. You can select your download, playlist and other stuff like whatever we are playing right now. It has a different menu, but you have library selected on your favorite subscriptions. You can add podcast, import. So if you go and add, it's going to ask you for iTunes, image URL and description, and that's it. So you can directly subscribe from iTunes in this podcast player as long as you know the URL of it. It doesn't go to iTunes and do that, but just do add podcast, put a iTunes URL and you are done, which is a good thing in this particular podcast player. The other good thing is their settings. You have the user interface. Now it's not a very customizable player, but it has enough required settings in it which you can do, which you can live with. It gives you all the normal file management issues, like if you go for downloads, you have auto delete, auto download, how much you want to auto download, all limits and other stuff. So those all things are there. So I hope you would have liked these podcast player and will be using one of those to manage your podcasts. If you have liked this video, I will really appreciate if you could like it on YouTube or subscribe to Make Web World. Thank you very much.